Last week was super packed for content concerning Warhammer 40,000. It honestly felt like the weeks leading up to and the couple of weeks after the Space Marine 2 release. An exceedingly well done piece of Warhammer media that has brought in a bunch of new people who are curious about this world. Now, we don't have nearly as much to talk about as we did last week, but there are some things that you gotta be aware of and some things that were revealed. But I'm HoodGuard, and this is your Monday Warhammer wrap-up. Let's get into it.
The Emperor's light is my torch! Death to the enemy! We shall be the end of you! Feel the might of the righteous! For the Emperor!
Let's hop right on into it, folks. Last week was the release of the secret level episode of Warhammer 40,000. There was also an announcement about the Warhammer Amazon project led by Henry Cavill and the fact that the deal between the two entities has been signed. Now, I made a full 10-minute video about that announcement and reviewing the secret level episode, and I'll link it in the description if you want to check out my thoughts on them. And both of those things are huge. Like I said at the beginning, they have brought in an influx of new fans and people interested in Warhammer. And there have been two things that have been spawned out of this new interest. The first is that, finally, Games Workshop has released the full story about Dimitri and Titus. As more people get into Warhammer, I foresee Titus being our Master Chief. A somber hero who's tasked with defending humanity, who is singular even amongst his equals. So I'm glad that they saw the importance in giving us the full background of this character, rather than the small pieces they've been breadcrumbing. You don't have to buy a book or a PDF, the full story is up on the Warhammer community page right now. And the second piece of this is for my Space Marine 2 fans. I'm sure this was in the works before, but there was definitely a lot of fan interest around the character of Mataris. He's Titus's mentor, he's the one who brought Titus into the Ultramarines chapter. And so right now in Space Marine 2, you can go and get the chest plate that Mataris has, as well as his backpack and iron halo. It's a small callback to a character that a lot of us connected to, and a new cosmetic for Space Marine 2, so it's a win-win for everybody. Next up, we have a couple of model reveals. Pretty regularly, Games Workshop will drop random models for the Horus Heresy. Sometimes they're character models like the Hibu Khan or Horus Axeman minis, but lately they've been dropping random officers from all these different legions. A couple of weeks ago, we got to see the new Iron Warriors Warsmith model that was coming, and it's awesome. He's big, he's imposing, and he has a giant F-off hammer. Well, this past week they revealed another one, and this is an Iron Hands Praetor. I'm not particularly an Iron Hands fan myself, but I do recognize that they need some more love. And this model is sick. It's a different type of melding between Space Marine and Machine that you don't really see in Tech Marines. He's got the big sweeping hero cape, but it also has piping and circuitry underneath. He has the crest that a lot of officers would have on their helmets, but it's made out of a gear. It's just a very cool way to add that technology aspect of the Iron Hands to their officers. And he even has a little servo skull spider drone. I know they don't do it often, but I'm a big fan of them adding little familiars to minis. Alright, next is a pretty big piece of news because it has to do with the Emperor's Children. We've already seen the reveals of the helmets, we've already seen the reveals of their pauldrons. But this time we get to see 4 of the new weapons that are coming with this refresh. Looking at the reveal here, there are 3 different size iterations of some type of sonic weapon, along with a melee weapon, a sword. And I really do love these designs, because generally when it comes to Chaos, the difference between them and regular Space Marines has a lot to do with their armor, their other physical appearance. But what's really setting the Emperor's Children apart here is their weapons. Not only are they stylized and are sonic weaponry, which is different from any other type of weapon that the other legions use, but they also have a bunch of accoutrements and symbols on them that are different. The faces that are stretched over the muzzles, the little hooks and talismans that are hanging off of the gun, they look really awesome. As far as the sword goes, it's not too much to write home about, it's just kind of a basic pointy sword. I definitely want to see more of what their melee weapons will look like and what their powered weapons are going to be like. Of course, there's no word on when the 3rd Legion reveal will be, but look out in the first quarter of the year for any announcements. Before we head out today, let's talk pre-orders. The last couple of Sunday previews have been somewhat lackluster. I know I didn't have a wrap-up last week, but that's just because the only pre-order was a bunch of made-to-order Firstborn Space Marines. And it's basically the same this week. The only thing going up for pre-order this Saturday is a bunch of terrain for the Sector Imperialis. If you're building your own tabletop map or need anything for basing, make sure to look out this Saturday for those. But alright, my friends, that is going to about do it for this week. Make sure to leave any questions you might have in the comments below, leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next one.